Hi, my name is Scott Teague and welcome to my NS Pocahontas Division N-scale layout. This is the layout entrance. It's an actual foot out of scale of a SD40 NS engine, 3170. Opens up like that. You go in the layout room, and actually, I was going to put grab irons on the locomotive, but I did get the headlights to work, and that's my entrance way to the layout. Over my 18-year period of doing construction of the layout, a lot has changed. A single deck, now it's triple deck. And I modeled the modern area of Norfolk Southern based on the Pocahontas Division and from Bluefield to Williamson, and did it in fall colors. The layout room size is 18 by 42, and I couldn't go out any further because that's all the room I had, so I had to go up. So, like I said, the layout is doubled in size and either tripled in size in some places. That's why it's double decked, and some parts is triple decked. When I first did the layout, I wasn't into operation. I did it for fun and enjoyment for myself, and then started hanging around a group of guys from Asheville. Got me into operation, and that's when I fell into DCC and operation at the same time. The layout grew to an experience that I feel is enjoyable now because of operation. A lot has changed because of operation, and a lot of friends have been met through operation and train stuff like that. So, like I said, a lot of stuff has changed since probably 18 years ago. But the operation has really got me where I am today with my layout. I think a lot of things have went through and changed for the better because of operation. You see where you need turnouts, crossovers, different track that you wouldn't probably be able to think about if you wasn't in operation just by yourself running trains. There's a lot of problems that come into operation, like your everyday problems with the railroad. You see where you need to make your track better as far as the train control that way. So yeah, a lot has changed in my layout over the 18 years. Yeah, some of the things that's in my op sessions, you can do different types of op sessions out there. I mean, there's several different ways, but I try to make it as enjoyable for the first time beginner and the moderate, you know, the big wigs that get into operation big time. We operate about 36 trains in probably about 4.5 hours, and we do it with a magnet board that has two dispatchers. One operates the main line, which is the first level, and the second dispatcher, which operates the dry fork branch, which is the second and third level. Operation consists of car cards for the locals, stuff like that, but we use cards, a simple card system that tells the person where the train's going, what it's doing. And so, like I said, I try to keep it simple as possible for the first time beginner, because I know for me, when I first started operation sessions, it was very intimidating to go to someplace, you know, somebody else's layout and operate for the first time. So I try to make it, like I said, easy and enjoyable for the first time beginner. The layout used to have the staging yards inside when I first started, and when I started getting into operation, I noticed that my trains got longer and stuff started, you know, piling up in the staging yards, and it used to be inside the layout room itself. Well, after one op session, I told my girlfriend, I said, we need to do something about these staging yards. The trains is just too long. And so after the op sessions, one day we went out into the den, which is outside the layout room, and constructed a 20-foot staging yard, which is two out there. One's from Williams staging, it's on top of the Bluefield staging, and each track is, well, there's 15 tracks, and each track is like 20 foot long. So it'll house, you know, any type of train that I want to run in here, and I don't have to go out and say, well, okay, you need to put this in track 1 or track 5. Now they can just go to the staging yards with their train, pick a track, and leave it at that. One of the neat features that I've seen on YouTube and other model railroad sites that really interests me, especially in the operation wise, is the Train Boss defect detector, and I finally got one, and it really boosts up your operating sessions. I have it just west of Arch, and what it does is it's got a vocabulary of all different types of words in it, and you can set it for NS, UP detectors, CSX detectors, plus it comes in a male and female voice. So what I've done is I operate on the Pocahontas Division, hear their defect detector, and then you can go back and do word for word with their vocabulary in this Train Boss defect detector. So I wrote everything down that the actual Pocahontas defect detector says and put it in the Train Boss defect detector. And what it does, you can set the amount of axles that go through the defect detector. So you never know when it's going to go off. And it has several defect detectors inside the Train Boss. So it might have sliding wheel, hot box, oversized load, stuff like that. So you never know when it's going to go off. So that makes it one of the best things I think realistically about operating sessions.
Norfolk Southern detector.
Have you made your run around move yet? Moving on track 1. Okay, good to thank you. J51 pushers, over.
J51's on the back on 188, over.
Fully ready, y'all heading east jet, over.
Norfolk Southern milepost 464.4 track 2 detector alarm.
Just got run over.
First sliding wheel axle 4-3 north rail. End of transmission.
This is the train card that I use on my op sessions. It shows the train number here, and right here shows the origin, Bluefield staging, destination, Williamson staging. This is M7M, which is extra section of 17M. Down here it has a track number where it's in Bluefield staging or Williamson staging. I got the front engine, which is the top engine on your DCC, and then under here it has notes if you have any notes of what you do on the layout, or if you're just going from staging yard to staging yard. And the locals have these car cards, which I found out that I used to use stickers on top of cards, which a lot of people didn't like that. I don't like it. It's very unrealistic. But some people use it to serve their purpose, but I like the car cards, which has the car pictures on top right here, and right here it has the name of the car, the number, what type of car, and then under here it has a waybill of where the car is going. Right here, you know, doing an N scale is very small. You can't see the numbers. Some people can't see the numbers. So I use the pictures, and the pictures help out a lot because you can identify the car with a picture, look on your train, and go from there. One other thing about the locals, the car cards have abbreviations on them. It's like this card here. It's for it's got a WP for abbreviation, means Williamson paper. And right here is one of the local papers right here. It shows one of my locals is J62. It shows on here where the local is running to. This is going westbound, and it has all the industries down here where it's going. And then down here it shows the abbreviations on the car cards, which makes it very easy for somebody to figure out of where they're going. Like I said, Williamson paper is WP, Westinghouse is WH, and so on. And then anything that he has to pick up between Flat Top and Williamson West, all these abbreviations down here is what he's picking up out of these industries, and he will bring back with him. So it's all very simple. And the first time that you run these locals, I mean, you're a little intimidated, but once you run it one time, you figure it out. It's very simple. So I try to make it as simple as possible for the beginner. Go out to Williamson staging yard and go through the steps, and it comes into the first town of Williamson, West Virginia. Williamson, West Virginia is probably one of the biggest towns on the layout. It has a lot of industries, paper mill, scrap metal place, and Westinghouse. On through there, it goes into Cooper's Tunnel and goes past the Cooper's Trestle, which is actually modeled after the actual Cooper's Trestle in West Virginia. And on through there, after you pass the bridge, you go into the Gilbert Branch. Gilbert Branch sees from like 1 to 2 coal trains at an op session. Goes up the grade into the west end of Farm. which the west end of farm houses the Old Virginia connection, and it goes up the Dry Fork branch into the second deck. On from there, you go into Middle Farm, into East Farm, which has the crossovers from Track 2, Track 1. Okay, from East Farm, we go out to the Twin Tunnels, which comes into Welch. And Welch is probably the second biggest town on the layout. Houses a lot of industries for locals, plus the Tug Fork branch comes off on track number 2. You go around the curve at the center peninsula, and it goes into Flat Top. Flat Top is one of the major classification yards on the layout. It houses a yardmaster there all the time that works the whole session. There's 2 locals that go out there, J61, J62, and there's some coal trains that come out there and go west. Plus there's 2 freight trains that stop there and drop off cars for the locals. So he's there, and Flat Top is usually a busy area. Okay, from there you go east and go into Falls Mills. Falls Mills holds the J&K Lumber Company. It's a big facility. It takes the local there, probably several minutes to switch. You go through the wall and head into State Line Junction, which crosses into West Virginia, Virginia. Then it goes into West Old Yard, which houses numerous industries, and plus the West Old Yard holds a lot of tonnage that Flat Top Yard can't put in their yard. You usually find empty coal trains there, empty maintenance away trains, stuff like that. It continues up the grade into Arch, which Arch is where a big gravel company is. One of the locals works that. Then it goes through the wall and heads through the steps into Bluefield Staging. Okay, from the Dry Fork branch, we start at Ohio Staging. Ohio Staging houses a lot of V&O trains. I put V&O trains into the layout for more operating sessions. So we start there, work our way downgrade into Hartwell. Hartwell, West Virginia is one of the towns one of the locals work. It's one of the biggest towns on there, probably the only town that's on the top level. From Hartwell goes through a display case.
Oh, okay. Just curious. I thought it was possessed. I wasn't running it a while ago.
It may be possessed.
That's true. Y'all will be joking about the ghost now. Something grabs you on the body.
And goes into Beech Creek Mine. Beech Creek Mine is one of the bigger mines on the layout. From there, it goes into Kelly Yard. Kelly Yard is a coal classification yard, and it houses numerous coal trains that operate north and south of the yard. Okay, out of Kelly Yard southbound, we go to Buck Number 3 Mine. Buck Number 3 is one of the smaller type loadouts on the layout on the Dry Fork branch. It probably sees about 1 coal train a day out of there. Coming around from Buck Number 3, going through the wall, we go into Buck Number 2. The Buck Number 2 goes through the wall, and you have to operate it on the other side of the wall. So it's kind of a hindrance, but it serves its purpose. Out of the junction for the Buck Number 2 comes into the big Bing Creek Mine. Bing Creek Mine is probably the biggest operating mine on the Dry Fork branch, which houses a lot of coal traffic. Going around the center peninsula, we added the Carlos siding. And Carlos siding is the longest siding from far as Kelly Yard siding on the layout, so we got to do a lot of meets there coming up the grade from the main line, which that also houses the Yukon Mine, which is almost the same size as Buck Number 3, Buck Number 2, so it's a smaller facility, but does haul a lot amount of coal traffic. Out of Carlos going south, you go down a grade, and the grade goes into the junction on the Dry Fork Junction on the main line at Farm.
I copy that.
All right, one of the many questions that I do get asked is why I call it the Pocahontas District, but why didn't I model act like the Pocahontas District? I'm into operation, and a lot of the stuff that's on the Pocahontas District is mainly coal hauling route. So I freelanced it, took the train names, the town names, and the feel of the West Virginia mountains, the Appalachians, and modeled that. So I kind of made it better for operation wise. So some of the towns are not, you know, theatrical the same place they should be in real life.
Thanks, Scott Teague, for letting us tour your layout, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that, you know, it answered a lot of questions about, you know, a humongous layout. It's a really nice one, kind of one that inspired me and has kept me going at the hobby. And like always, hit the like button, subscribe, share my video amongst your friends. Subscribe if you already haven't. Comment below if any questions or suggestions you have. I'm sure Scott will probably see it. And if you want to see any more of his work, you can check him out at where on YouTube?
twproductionsvideos.com or NS Scott Teague.
There you go, guys. Later.